Hello, and welcome to Metal Vice, the podcast where we talk about all things music.
Well, the things we care about.
That's right, which is mainly metal music and live music. I'm one of your hosts, Brian, joined with your other host,
Karen.
Karen, what is this episode all about?
Covers, tributes,
Yeah.
singing other people's music.
All about covers and tributes.
Yeah.
Just a brief little conversation about that. So I guess let's just dive in. First thing I want to do, though, is sort of define the difference between covers and tributes.
Our definition.
Sure, our definition of covers and
Yes.
tributes. I know there are people out there who hate cover bands. There was a sticker I saw at a venue a while ago on like a wall somewhere that was essentially cover bands suck. And I was like, I don't know. I like cover bands. I like covers. I actually love covers, honestly. When we get down to the cover section of this little chat and get to the Metallica section, we're going to talk a little bit about that. And there's some...
You always have to bring it back to like Metallica.
Well, I mean, it's my favorite band,
I
and
know.
they have a few cover albums that are just amazing to me. I love those albums so much, and when we get to that, I'll talk about. But yeah, so I mean, I love covers. I really do. And when bands do covers, I love hearing what they pick, because a lot of times it's songs that touch them for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Emotionally, it helped them through a dark time, or it was something very prominent on their musical journey as they grew, and like seeing and understanding where a band came from. I really love to understand that and hear their take on a particular song that they used to love, and still do love. So I mean, I love that stuff so much. So kind of setting the stage and what the difference is between a tribute and a cover band, I kind of view tribute bands as cover bands, but elevated, where
Okay.
they're trying harder to have more of the sound as perfect as possible to what the band would do. During a live set, they're acting as closely as they can to what a band how the band would act on stage, what they would do on stage. They're trying to mimic, and I'm not saying that in like a negative way, but they're trying to like reproduce and give
They're
a
trying
show.
to give you that experience.
Yes, exactly. And for a lot of bands, the tribute bands out there, that's the only way you can see that music. We've seen a few in the past like that, right? Like
Like the hybrid theory?
yeah, like the Hybrid Theory at
Rockfest.
Rockfest. Yeah, I keep forgetting where that was.
Yeah.
And
Because the hybrid theory is a Linkin Park cover or tribute band.
yeah,
so.
yeah. And then we'll talk a little bit about that here in a second, but yeah, like you're not going to see Linkin Park, so like a tribute band's the only way you're going to really hear that music now live anyway, and get sort of that crowd energy as closely as you can with a really good tribute band. And then like the stage presence, the aesthetics, like the clothes they're wearing and stuff is going to be very on par to what bands would be wearing. The thing that I always think about when I think about about like band, like a tribute band, the clothes they're wearing and stuff like that, is the movie Rockstar, with Jennifer Aniston and Mark Wahlberg. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. I know that's not how you pronounce it, but whatever.
I think you're close.
Close enough. But he's in a tribute band for whatever the band is. I can't remember. Some sort of, I think it had Dragon in the name. I can't remember. It's been so long since I saw that movie. But he was in a tribute band, and early on in that movie, he was doing rehearsal with his band, and one of the members was wearing the wrong kind of pants. So he like made the guy leave and change his pants to come out and for like the show or something they were playing. Other than that, cover bands, it's somebody who's just sort of playing a cover, playing somebody else's music. And you can have bands that do cover songs as well. Like we already mentioned this with Metallica, but Disturbed's another good example of this, where they have individual songs that they just they'll cover and play. But that's sort of like how I would define the difference between cover bands and tribute bands. Is there anything else you would add or change to what I said?
For a definition?
Yeah, for like a definition.
No, I think you did okay.
Okay.
What?
No, it's fine.
Oh, okay.
You just said that like, you did fine.
You did.
Like you
Okay.
like a disappointed parent. Like
It was fine. A C+.
There you go. See, exactly. Disappointed parent here. So yeah, tribute bands. We've seen actually a surprising number of tribute bands.
A handful.
Um,
Not that many.
There's a few that come through Reggie's all the time. There's an Iron Maiden and Led Zeppelin one that come through Chicago quite a bit that we haven't seen yet. I really want to see them.
We will.
But Metallica bands, there's a they're a dime a dozen, honestly. There's
Yeah.
Metallica tribute bands all over the place. I love them all. They're all fucking awesome. They kind of get in this trap of only playing the first 4 albums. There's good music Metallica's written since those first 4 albums, but a lot of those are the best tracks though, honestly. So I understand why they play those songs, but there's still some good stuff out there that you can possibly pull from. Our friend Jerry, who's in Thrash of the Titans, I think that may have been our first tribute band we actually ever saw.
I think so. Yeah, that show, because I mean,
Wongzilla was before there.
Yeah,
So that
Wongzilla
was technically the first.
Yeah, a Rob Zombie, White Zombie tribute band. Yeah.
And then so that number there, a number of bands there. One of the highlights for me at Rockfest last year, we did a whole podcast on our experience at Rockfest, but there's a lot of good things. There's a few very large negative things with Rockfest.
Some good things, lots of negative things.
I feel like it was a lot the opposite. Personally, looking back, I feel like there were a lot of good. Anywho, we're not here talking about that. But one of the positive things I think we can both agree on is the tribute stage they had.
Yeah.
Bringing smaller tribute bands in to this festival, and honestly, those bands got more set time than any other band there because they had 3 sets. There were 2 bands a day, and each band got 3 sets.
Yeah, and they were like long, like 40-minute sets too. So
yeah.
So longer than, I mean, technically altogether longer than the headliner.
Exactly. Yeah, they had the longest sets. Thrash of the Titans was there. Giznad, who we saw at Reggie's, a tribute to Danzig. And then Sabbath that we saw at Danzig, they're going to be there this year at Rockfest.
Oh, are they?
I believe I saw that.
Awesome. Yeah. Good for them. Good for them.
Yeah, and that was one of my favorite things, and that's where we solved the hybrid theory. And I know you were a big fan of.
Yeah, I wish we could have. I wish we would have went and saw all 3 of their sets as well. We only caught the end of one set. It's hard to see everything when you go to festivals like that. But I wanted to see Linkin Park so bad, and we really were talking about it in 2017. How cool it would be when they go to open air the next year, which was never announced, and open air 2018 never happened. But it was just like our pipe dream that would be really cool. And they were, I figured that in 2018 we would see them. And unfortunately, we couldn't. So
yeah. And all in all, like, typically the price to see cover bands is pretty good. $15-$20 at Reggie's whenever they're there. Again, the Led Zeppelin one, I think they're typically at like the House of Blues here in Chicago, so I don't know what that price would be.
It's probably still lower. It's probably still like 20.
But it's great, talented musicians playing, good priced tickets to go see this, and a lot of the times, again, this is the best way you're going to see and hear this music live, and get a crowd energy and feel to it. So I love going to see tribute shows for sure. I really love. I don't know how else to say that. I really like that.
I like seeing some tribute shows. Sometimes depending on the performance, sometimes I don't get into it, and I think a lot of it. And we talked about this with the Metallica takeover in Detroit. Sandman, I think, was the first band and that we saw, and it was the vocals that I couldn't really get into.
I think Sandman wasn't there.
Oh, okay.
It was Damaged. I can't remember. There's whatever band it was. There's Damaged.
I think you might be right.
Damaged Inc.
And Motor Breath.
Motor Breath. Yes.
So
Motor
sorry.
Breath. Yeah.
So Sandman didn't come or wasn't there. They were on the bill, but whatever.
They didn't make that particular show.
Yeah. So with Motor Breath, I think it was the vocals that I couldn't really get into. When we saw Damage Justice here in Chicago, right?
Yep.
I get them so confused if it's Damage Inc. or Damage Justice.
Yeah, I think it was Damage Justice here in Chicago.
So when we saw them with Sabbatha and Giznad, I got into the music, but I mean, which was fine, but they have a female lead vocal, which is fine, but I just couldn't get into it like I would like a Metallica show, where when we saw Damage Inc., he performs like James does.
Yeah.
So it was easier for me to really get into that. I don't know. And it's such a stupid thing, but that's my only complaint about. Are you serious? Well, the camera died, like always. I was talking about vocals and how I couldn't really get into it when it's not sounding like the band, I guess, which is stupid. But I think that's where I was going with that. It's just like a little thing that I have.
You've brought that up a few times. I've heard other people bring it up with other bands as well, other tribute bands as well. I don't care that much, honestly.
Yeah.
That particular show at Reggie's, I think there were other issues going on with sound. Cause I think
it could have been. Yeah.
I think we did an episode on that.
We did, yeah.
Where there were some other issues with sound going on that did take me out of it a little bit. Plus, they did Ride the Lightning from start to finish, which I'm not a big fan of.
Yeah.
Luckily, though, they fucking played for a long ass time.
They did
played
afterwards.
a lot more after it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was awesome. I did like seeing those guys, and I want to see them again for sure. But that's really all I had to say about tribute bands. I don't know if you have anything else you want to bring up or talk about in particular.
No, it's fine. Yeah.
We've done a few shows or brought them up several times in the past.
Yeah, because we've done episodes on tribute bands, and also when we did the Detroit or Metallica takeover in Detroit, we talked about the tribute. Or no, we never posted that.
We have an encore. We have never posted it.
Let's post it when we post this.
Okay. All right.
Let's get it done. Is it edited?
We'll find out.
We're going to be very busy here shortly.
But sort of the genesis of this conversation came out of us watching YouTube last night. One of the things we always do where we just sort of turn on fucking YouTube and let it run for hours listening to music videos and just sort of shuffle and whatnot. And we'll talk about them here in a little bit, but Peyton Parrish came on and we were I was going down that rabbit hole for the first time. That's my first exposure to this individual. But that's sort of where this came around. I just wanted to lump tributes in just a little brief aside because, again, I'm not trying to offend anybody. To me, tribute bands are cover bands just elevated to the next level up.
Yeah.
Cover bands go to 10, tribute bands, they go to 11. So
turn it up to 11.
This one goes to 11. So yeah, exactly.
You're funny.
So diving into cover songs and bands to some extent.
Let's start with bands and then we'll talk about cover songs.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because as we mentioned, there's artists who they do cover songs.
Yeah.
And they'll either throw them on an album or they'll play them live and whatnot.
Yeah. I think cover bands are more like you play popular songs from multiple bands and not just stick to like Metallica.
Yeah, and that to me jogs of where you're gonna find a cover band. They're gonna be, in my mind anyway, typically at a park and they're playing on music in the parks in the summer.
I thought you meant just a random person just sitting in a park. Yeah.
I mean, in the subway, people are out playing music. Bars will often have musicians come out and play music while people are just sort of hanging out at the bar as sort of background noise.
Probably my number one place would probably be a bar that you'd find a cover band.
Yeah, and last year we went to a place here in Chicago near us where there was a guy out in the patio and he had a QR code that you can tip him money and then pick a song off the list he knows and he'll play that song for you.
Yeah, it was kind of like the piano thing where if you give him money, he'll play your song unless he just plays random songs.
And I guess that's another example, piano bars, that's all cover.
Yeah, that's true.
But on a piano version of it.
Yeah.
I fucking love piano bars, but different story, different conversation.
Yes. Don't go down your piano bar rabbit hole.
So that's where I typically find them, but there are bands out there, in my mind anyway, that when I hear this band, it's that's a cover band. All they do is play covers, or 90% of their music is what they play.
Who would that be?
So Peyton Parrish, we talked about that.
Oh, I see where you're going. I see where you're going. Sorry.
So Peyton Parrish, last night we talked about that. That was my first exposure to them. This is an individual you had known about for quite some time now.
Yeah, actually. I almost went and saw him when he was here in Chicago.
I was out of town and you did not go to see him.
I chickened out going to a concert by myself, yes.
And I remember when he came on, I don't know what song it was. It was some Viking song.
Valhalla, yes.
Okay. Is that the name of the song?
Yes,
Valhalla?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Again, just heard this last night, heard a handful of songs last night.
I don't know his music that well. So.
Same. That's what I'm trying to get to. And I heard that. I was holy fucking shit, this is awesome. Who is this? And you're oh, this is Peyton Parrish. And it's oh, you were going to go see him. And then I started getting you shit of why the fuck did you not go see this? This seems fucking insane. This would be awesome. And then the next we started going down that Peyton Parrish rabbit hole. And then he's doing Let It Go from Frozen.
Yeah. He has a whole Disney album.
You said that.
It's the most magical album on earth or something.
And I loved everything. Everything we found, I was holy shit, this is fucking awesome. But and you pointed this out too last night, that he has his own original music as well.
Yes, yeah.
But from, again, starting last night, my exposure is very little. I'd started to go down the rabbit hole. I'm going to continue searching this because I fucking fell in love. And he's also like a country singer. Like that was the first album.
His first album was more country sounding, or like it is, in my mind, it's country.
But then it sort of shifted more to like the Viking metal.
Yeah, yeah. And I don't know where those videos are, but I think when he started on TikTok, it was more country music. Because he's a TikTok singer. I don't know how I feel about that either, but we could talk about that too on a different episode. But so he started there and released an album, and then his second album is the Viking metal.
Okay.
So, which is what you were listening to last night, mostly.
But like going down that rabbit hole, even that Valhalla song, I would assume was his original.
I hope I'm saying that right.
Valhalla?
Yeah, I think.
Valhalla is the Norse.
Yes, yeah. So then that's right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And anyway, is that his original song as well?
No. So that was Miracle of Sound.
Okay.
Wrote that and was performing that, and then they did like a collab together.
Oh, okay.
I think it was even on TikTok that they did a collab together. They have some music video collabs together on YouTube. So they actually worked together, not on that song. It's Miracle of Sound's song, but he let Peyton do these collabs.
Gotcha.
So.
Yeah. So again, I understand he's got other music out there, but when I think of Peyton Parrish now, again, very limited exposure, very limited knowledge of the music because it's less than 24 hours that I've sort of fallen down this rabbit hole, as I've said several times. Anywho, but now when I think of Peyton Parrish at this moment in time, it's all covers. It's him doing cover songs. So I view him as a cover artist, not necessarily an artist who's writing his own music. Along that lines, go ahead.
Oh, I don't want to go past Peyton Parrish really.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
So the first time I heard Valhalla I honestly thought it was his song. Okay. I didn't know it was a collab or anything. I don't want to go into this too much, but Miracle of Sound has asked him to stop performing that song, and that's how I went down the rabbit hole of knowing who now Miracle of Sound is. So that's how this whole conversation kind of started. Was the whole cover.
Yeah, we started looking into that a little bit last night before.
Yeah. Well, I had seen it on.
Oh, you had seen it before?
Yeah, I had seen it on Instagram. I think it was a TikTok that was shared to his Instagram, onto Miracle of Sound's Instagram, like 2 days ago or three or four, or like over this past week.
Okay.
In the past week, so.
Okay.
Anyways, I just wanted to put that in there, like where this whole conversation kind of even started from.
Yeah, and that's about when we started forming at least the outline or the thought for this episode. The
conversation started with like, we should do an episode. So that's how much research we put into this shit.
Along with that same sort of what I'd classify as Peyton Parrish is this, again, on YouTube video that I watch a lot, this Leapfrog Studio, where they will take a non-metal song and do a metal version of that song. So they've got like Toto from Africa, The Devil Went Down to Georgia are the two big ones that I always listen to, but they've got a whole lot of other ones that I just can't think of at this moment in time. Honestly, it's been a while since I watched them, but that was another one that's like where they're just doing a unique version of a song, but it's a cover of that song. Both Peyton Parrish and I think Leapfrog then also go on tours and play, as you already mentioned. Peyton Parrish was asked not to play a song live.
Yeah, he's on tour right now in Europe, and I think that's when Miracle of Sound asked him not to perform his song anymore.
Yeah,
and I don't know what's behind all that. So
we don't know that. Yeah, whatever. There's shit they're going on with the artists, and it will get worked out one way or the other down the road.
Yeah.
So don't know all the information yet. But again, and it seemed like the early videos for Leapfrog were one individual going out, basically playing all the instruments and doing everything and arranging it. As more and more songs got added, Toto, they added a female vocalist to come in and sing those parts as well. But they both, I think, tour. I think Leapfrog was here in Chicago a few years ago. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Maybe at the House of Blues.
Do they have a band come with them then?
I think so. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You've got to have a band that comes with you unless you're doing like the
the
drum on your back when you like hit your foot. It does the.
I thought you were gonna say like, oh, who did we just see, like Jason Richardson or whatever? And
oh,
he did
with backing tracks.
Yeah, he did backing tracks
as the drum kit, but he's up there playing the guitar. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But to tie in Peyton Parrish and Leapfrog Studios, both of these bands sort of are very similar in the way that I think you hit on a little bit. They're sort of Instagram, YouTube, or
like
TikTok, social media type famous.
Yeah.
And honestly, it kind of makes sense for this day and age.
Yeah.
For somebody who's looking for work, who's very talented at what you do from a musical standpoint.
Yeah.
Put a quick little video together and throw it out there as like a reel or something like that. And if you're good, people are going to watch and they're going to want more and more, and you're going to have to make more. And eventually maybe you can go on tour like these guys are doing.
Yeah.
And there's other people you found on Instagram who do stories where they're just, again, cover, like they take a song and they sing it their way or with their vocals.
That's how I found like Enthos she was singing.
Yeah. You don't even know, but she was singing something.
I don't remember it. I think it was Whitechapel. She was singing Whitechapel.
Oh, yes, it was. Yeah,
I was trying to like think back to like the exact song that I saw her singing. So that's how I saw it. But I agree. It's a good way to get your name out there and everything. This will be a whole separate episode. This is the only thing I'm going to say about this is that's an easy way to get your name out there. But there's been so many bands who've had to slug it out on tour trying to get people to buy your albums and stuff, and these people are just making money off of ads on social media.
Yeah, so that's one way to look at it, that you're just trying to get the views to make an ad.
Yep, to get the ad revenue.
I viewed it more of like, hey, I can sing. If you guys need a singer, I'm out here. Give me a call.
And it could be. I mean, you could literally go that way and get your name out there. It's a quick, easy way. But I don't want to ever make it seem like that's the way you have to do it, because like all of the band. I'm not saying like you would have to do it that way, but like and also I don't want to say I feel bad for the bands that've had to slug it, but it's like.
And then like if you've been on the road slugging and you're putting the work and you're putting the energy and you put your song out there, and then somebody picks it up and uses it on a TikTok video that goes viral, they're getting that money and not you.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And as a band, you've got to be fucking pissed to some extent about that. Hindsight, maybe you can argue. Maybe, I've done no research on this, I'm just thinking about it now, but you could argue that by that video going viral, think of it in sort of the Metallica Master of Puppets in Stranger Things.
Oh, yeah.
That fucking blew up to a whole new audience of non-metalheads who, because of that song, because of that moment in that show, might now go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah. No, and I think social media is a good way to bring in other people who would not go to a metal show.
Yeah.
Is that what I'm trying to say in a way of like not stereotyping people, but like
it's their gateway. We talked about this walking down the road. You have a friend who you showed them Apocalyptica.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, that's awesome. And you brought it up to me trying to get you into metal with El Nino.
Yeah.
And finding Disturbed, and that was your gateway.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's the gateway. You're gonna, oh my god, this is awesome. I want more like this.
Yeah.
Well, good for you, because that song is 40 fucking years old.
Yeah.
There's a lot more metal since then. So you're in luck, sir or madam.
There's a lot of songs out there. What are we talking about? TikTok? Or are we talking about?
Exactly.
What are we talking about? Sorry, we'll do let's have that as a whole separate conversation on a different show.
Sometime down the road, maybe not. The last one I want to bring up has a cover-only band that I think of anyway. And again, they could have their own original music, but when I think of them, when you say their name and you think about them, it's like, oh, this is a cover-only band. And that is Von Canto. I want to think I'm saying that right.
I think it's Von Canto, yes.
We saw this with somebody who did like a vlog on their trip to 70,000 Tons a few years back. And they said the same thing in the vlog where they're like, holy fucking shit, this band is insane. Yeah. And we went down that rabbit hole that night too.
So that whole night, we started watching vlogs of 70,000 Tons because we were getting ready to go on Headbanger Boat, and we kind of wanted to know what to expect with the whole concert.
With the boats.
Concert boats or boats with concerts. So
music cruises.
Obviously, Headbanger Boat had not happened, so we couldn't look into anything with that. So we were like, 70,000 Tons. We started looking into that. We had like this whole vlog that we were like watching, and all their content we were trying to watch. And once Von Canto came on, we shut that off of YouTube and started going down the rabbit hole of Von Canto. So it was like an instant, we kind of fell in love sort of thing.
Which we haven't said this, and it makes sense for why I view them as a cover band, because they're a a cappella group.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So there's no instruments. They're just singing the songs. And they've got a whole metal catalog of songs they sing. And
just thinking, a cruise is a good place to find a real cruise, not a metal cruise, but like it's a good way to find cover bands, because when we were on our first cruise, there was the cover a cappella group.
Yeah, same thing. It's like in a bar during like a side event
like
type
the
thing.
nightclub thing. Yeah. Anyways, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're good. You're good. But so again, it kind of makes sense why I would view them, or why people might view them as like a cover band only. They might have original music again. An original a cappella music would be really cool, I think.
I'm sure there is.
Think of Apocalyptica. They do their own original music with the cellos and shit, and that's fucking awesome when they come out with their own original music. And then they do covers as well.
Yeah.
They've got like a whole Metallica album.
Yeah.
But in any case,
I mean, that's how you found them, right? Was the Metallica
It
covers?
is, yeah. No. Corey Taylor sung with them for "I'm Not Jesus."
Oh, okay.
And that got a lot of radio play when that came out.
Oh, okay.
And they had a few other ones that had a lot of radio play.
Okay. The first time I remember you mentioning them to me was the Metallica covers.
Gotcha.
So, anyways.
But those are just a few bands that when I hear them or think of them, I think of them as cover-only bands. Again, not necessarily cover-only bands, but bands I generally associate with covers. And I think that's outside of Von Canto, the two we mentioned, Peyton Parrish and Leapfrog, are mainly because of their YouTube content, which is probably being driven for views.
Yeah. Well, that's another I mean, we talked a few things on Peyton Parrish, but going through last night on his Instagram, which is his TikTok shared to Instagram, I guess. So double dip in there. But it's a lot. I mean, he does like a whole bunch like Zombie and or by the Cranberries and a lot of Nickelback songs, which I don't
really.
Yeah,
I didn't get into that.
We listened to a couple of his Disturbed covers.
Yep.
And so some of them are done better than others, but we don't need to go into all of that.
Yeah.
So there's different ways to do it, but some are better than others.
Yeah, for sure. After you get into bands that are, once again, I associate always as sort of, you're primarily a cover band. You have bands who just do cover songs.
Not just do cover songs. They have cover songs on their album.
Yes, that's what I meant to say. Yeah. I fucked up the wording, but that's what I meant to say.
That's okay. That's what I'm here for.
Bands who play cover songs occasionally.
I translate Brian into English.
And the first one I wanted to bring up was Disturbed. Their very first album came out, and they had Shout as the cover song toward the end of the track. I think it might have been the last song.
No, there's one more after that.
Was there one more? Okay, I can't remember. I always thought it was the last one. And I remember seeing an interview at some point. I'm pretty sure it was with David or maybe not. I don't know. But I'm pretty sure it was with Disturbed. And they were like, yeah, we... a lot of times when you're looking to get signed by a record label, they'll ask you to do a cover song and send in a cover song for like a demo tape. Because the cover song is a well-known song that you don't have to like pick up the lyrics or pick up the notes or like you know the song. So the cover song then shows your ability as a band to play actual music and sound good while playing music. And so a lot of times in this interview, I'm vaguely remembering, record labels would ask for do a cover song. And I think they did Shout as the cover song in their demo tape and whatnot. And for the longest time, I thought every single Disturbed album had a cover song on it. But it doesn't.
No.
It's honestly not that often that they have cover songs.
I know 3 of them. They might have more, but...
Shout, Land of Confusion, and Sound of Silence.
Yes. That's like the main one that everybody knows. But I mean, I was going to go into that where like 10,000 Fists was probably the first album that I really listened to of Disturbed. And it was like the only album I listened to for the longest time. And it has Land of Confusion on it. And I didn't know that Land of Confusion was a cover. Yes. Okay. So for probably, I'm probably embarrassed to say this, but probably 4 years, I didn't know. And then I think we were at a friend's house and Land of Confusion came on, I'm like, but this isn't Disturbed. Like, who's singing this?
They had the original?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was like one of those things where.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
I didn't know. And
that's kind of a good point where there are some cover songs out there that the band who covers it, that song is either more known or that song kind of sort of becomes their song.
Yeah. Well, also, I mean, it could just be also my musical upbringing because I listened to gospel or country music. So I didn't know rock songs or, anything like that. So, I mean, when you only hear it for the first time, you think it's their song. I mean, look at Valhalla. Like, I thought that was Peyton Parrish's song. So,
I mean, I think Trent Reznor has even said this where he says Hurt is no longer his song.
Oh, yeah.
That song is now Johnny Cash's song.
Yeah.
Because Johnny Cash did it so fucking well that even Trent Reznor's like, yeah, that's not my song anymore. That's your song. You have it. You're the fucking king of this song now. And I guess that's the point we didn't even put on this list, but Johnny Cash with the American Man series or the American series,
forgot. Yeah.
All of that is cover songs that he would sing, and just I love those albums so much, and they're all cover songs. But yeah, like Disturbed, Sound of Silence is so fucking good.
It's so much better.
I still like the Simon & Garfunkel version.
Oh, not me.
I hear it and I love it.
Like, you listen to it a lot, especially like when we're getting ready to go to bed or something, you'll put it on. And I'm just like, this is so slow. There's no depth to it. It's just like, it's just two men singing this song. I don't know. Like, Disturbed. David puts so much depth into the lyrics. It makes it so deep and like, so you can feel it. Where hearing Sound of Silence by Simon & Garfunkel, you can't feel, I can't feel it. It's just a song being sang.
The one I always play is from, I think, the 50th anniversary of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, where they had it was a big thing on HBO. They had a bunch of musicians come out and put on performances in celebration of it, and you had these like one in a lifetime sort of performances. So you get Tom Morello and Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band doing The Ghost of Tom Joad, and fucking love that song. Like, those two together, and just Tom Morello is a fucking beast on the guitar, and how he plays that is fucking insane. But one other performance there, they did have Simon and Garfunkel get back together. They fucking hate each other so much. They got back together for this one performance, and just Art's vocals, those deep notes that he can hit, those high notes, those high notes he can hit are fucking insane. I love that performance, and that's the one I always listen to. I get what you're saying with David. He does have that gravitas and that deep, deep voice that comes out that breathes new life into the song in a very, very powerful way.
The best way to hear Sound of Silence is up in Lakeview, walking to under Lakeshore Drive to the lake, like when you're underneath, like under Lakeshore, and just have it blaring in both headphones. Be cognizant of people around you, but it's the best way to hear it because you're like in a tunnel, and I don't know, it's just the best way.
It's what you did the very first time we moved to Chicago, probably.
Oh, every single day I used to listen to that walking to the lake. Yes.
Yep.
Well, not every single day because it didn't come out until we were here for for a while. And do you know what? Actually, it's in Old Town that I used to do that walk underneath.
Oh, so not Lakeview, Old Town. All right.
Because Lakeview, we didn't walk. No, there was a tunnel in Lakeview too. There has to be a tunnel. How do you get across Lakeshore?
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyways.
Any hoodles?
Memories.
Disturbed. Anything else you want to say about Disturbed before moving on to the next band?
No. I like their covers though.
Their covers are great. They really are. Yeah. Next band though.
I do want Disturbed to do an Unchained Melody cover.
You seemed like that was going to be a...
for the longest time, so that was like my grandfather's favorite song. For the longest time, I think it would have been really hard to hear, but I mean...
He sung it before.
He has. So
live?
I think
it's been done live.
So I didn't know about live.
Or maybe not.
But, so they were doing, there's a video on social media. I don't even know how to find it now, because I'm sure it's out there. But... they were doing like the sound check or the setup of the stage and stuff. So they're not like performing and stuff.
That's where it's not live.
And that's where David. I mean, there's no music playing. It's just
David's acapella
singing Unchained Melody. So, and then, Dan comes up and starts like, acting like he's doing the thing in Ghost. Yeah.
The Ghost.
So, yeah. So for the longest time, I couldn't listen to that song. Now, I want them to do it.
Oh, that'd be awesome. One hope that someday it will happen.
And then maybe I'll like going to Disturbed concerts again.
I still love going to Disturbed concerts.
I do like going, yes.
They're fucking a blast.
Yeah. It's just a different atmosphere than other concerts.
For sure. The next band, my absolute favorite band, Metallica. Garage Inc., the most... Yeah, sorry.
We said pretty close.
I don't want to say the most. When I think of cover songs, I always gravitate directly to Garage Inc. because not only is it a cover song, it's a cover album. The entire album's about covers. I believe this is kind of a spin-off from the Garage Days EP they put out after Jason joined the band.
Mm-hmm.
And same thing that we were talking about with Disturbed, where, all right, let's see what you can do. Let's play some cover music together just to like get the vibe to make sure we fit in and whatnot, and we can, meld together. And they put that out as an EP. I've listened to it a couple times. I can't remember it that well. So, but I believe Garage Inc. is sort of an offshoot of that, where, all right, now let's do a double LP with all cover songs, and they've got very, very unique choices on there. Lover Man, Astronomy I fucking love. It's so good. Whiskey in the Jar, it's such a great fucking album. I will put that album on and listen to it nonstop.
Whiskey in the Jar is another one that I didn't know was a cover.
Yeah, Thin Lizzy.
We used to listen to it a lot, and I didn't know.
And I listened to Metallica's version. I've listened to it so long. It was only, honestly, I knew it was a cover growing up when I first learned about it, and I loved that song. I never listened to the original by Thin Lizzy until maybe 5 to 6 years ago.
Oh, really?
And then I finally listened to it. And I think I was just listening to classic rock, and then that came on. I was like, oh, all right. I like it. I like Metallica much better. What you were saying with Sound of Silence.
Yeah.
There might be people out there who are like, fuck you, Metallica sucks at that song.
Everybody has their opinions.
Exactly.
Our opinion's best,
music. But... love that album. It's so fucking good. An entire album of covers. The next sort of entire album of covers that was actually an album, for the most part, there's a few of their own stuff on there with Metallica, is the All Within My Hands event they did, I think in San Francisco, I want to say 2019-ish.
Okay.
2018-ish. The all acoustic set. I want to say it was 19 because in 2020 they did an all acoustic set for All Within My Hands with the live stream version because of COVID and whatnot, where it was half covers, half acoustic, and half electric guitars. And I think it was When a Blind Man Sees was first played. So that album that came out that I was talking about, it's kind of funny to listen to because it's a live album. You get the live experience because James is bitching the entire fucking set about the bass. Like, I'm getting too much bass in my ear. Can you fix that? Getting too much feedback. Like
they didn't cut that part out?
No, it's all in there.
Oh, that's funny.
Because it's like after every song, he's like turning over to his tech and he's like, I can't fucking hear a goddamn thing. Let's go. And he kind of slowly gets aggravated as the night goes on. Never like super, super aggravated because he's like, whatever. I think there's a moment where he's like, are you having fun? I hope so. I'm not, but I'm glad you are. At the end, they finally fix it. But it's kind of funny, just like, it's a live show. Shit's going to happen. It's not going to be perfect. But they played that the next year at the next All Within My Hands. But instead of doing it acoustically, they did a
Metallica version?
A Metallica, like a metal
version.
And an electric. There we go. An electric version. And then like the comment after that is James is like, a acoustic cover that's now covered as an electric cover, or some kind of weird like Gordian knot type bullshit of how this song came to be. Anyway, that's a great album. I love that album too by Metallica. They do covers all the time. Even the Rob and Kurt Doodles.
Yeah.
Not this last time around, but when they did the Hardwired tour, they would do the Doodles with covering other bands. Here, it's sort of...
we wrote this for,
Not here. In the M72 tour.
Yeah.
Because here is relative.
Yeah.
As part of the 72 tour, they do the same thing, but it's like original music.
But do they do that in Europe too?
I don't know, honestly.
Yeah. That'll be interesting.
I know a previous time around, it was sort of, they would do their doodle, but it was covering other music.
Yeah,
because
like
they did,
to that
Du Hast,
region. Yeah.
In Germany, which was fucking awesome.
Yeah, that's why I'm wondering when they're in Europe what they do versus in the U.S. It's just like, I mean, what are you going to do? Go to Nebraska? Do they perform in Nebraska? I'm trying to think of like
time around, no.
somewhere and be like, oh, I'm going to play your high school song. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, what are they going to play? I mean, unless there's like...
My assumption is it was riffs and whatnot that didn't make it onto the M72 album. Like,
possibly.
We were fucking around with this, trying to find a good melody.
Yeah.
Or something that is going to be on maybe the next album, sort of the root of the next album. The last thing I want to talk about for Metallica is The Blacklist.
Yeah.
Another album that is so fucking good, in my opinion. I love that album. It's the Black Album, but given to like 100+ artists.
Oh yeah, there's so many artists.
Yeah, and they were all just given like one song and like, here, make a cover of this song. Do whatever you want. And there's English speaking, non-English speaking. There's country. There's EDM.
There's Miley Cyrus.
Miley Cyrus.
You like that one though?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of her voice, but it's such a great arrangement. The piano behind it with Elton John. It's a really good song. It really is. And the voice is growing on me a little bit, I suppose, but not that much. In any case, completely different where it's, here's our music, you go cover. And there's so many great fucking things on there. I really love the non-English music, like for The Unforgiven, when you break into Spanish singing.
Yeah. It's
so fucking good. I love that album so much. My only complaint is we have it on vinyl. We've listened to it once on vinyl, and I don't think I'll ever listen to it again on vinyl. Is all the songs are listed in a row.
Yeah.
So you get 1,400, not really.
No.
You get 20.
Yeah. Interesting.
Enter Sandman, and then 20, Nothing Else Matters.
Yeah.
Like, it follows the order of the album, I believe, if I remember correctly.
No, I think so. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
But it's all put together, and it's just boom, 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 boom. And there's enough difference that it doesn't hurt that much.
It does get a little monotonous, though, to hear the same song 15, 20 times. Where Spotify, you can shuffle.
That's the best way to listen to this, in my opinion, is put it on shuffle, hit play, and it's going to shuffle it.
Sometimes you get a song that repeats with a different artist, but...
Yeah, you do, but you're not getting 14 at the same time.
Yeah.
Only complaint about that album. Otherwise, fucking love that album. Burn through these next couple real quick, unless you have something else here.
Of what?
Oh, I thought you were getting ready to say something.
Transition to the next band.
Oh, transition. Go ahead.
Ghost has a song on the Blacklist. Enter Sandman.
They do have a song on the Blacklist. Enter Sandman.
Yeah, and when we saw Ghost in 2022, we actually saw them perform Enter Sandman off of the Blacklist.
Was that our only time hearing them play that song?
Yeah. Live. That's the only time we've heard
only
it.
live, yeah.
Yeah. Because like when we saw them in Green Bay, they didn't play it. And when we saw them here, they didn't play it.
Interesting. All right.
Yeah, so, but the Blacklist had just came out in 2021, late 2021, if I remember right. And we saw them early 2022.
Yeah. It's hard to...
dates could be 2020 and 2021 and 2022 were just kind of like...
They all sort of melded together.
Yeah, those couple years.
Also, the Blacklist was kind of weird where it was basically like every week was a new song.
Mm-hmm.
It was a whole celebration for the Black Album. And every like week or month was a new song that they highlighted, and they'd release a few segments or a few songs that the other artists had done, the covers.
Yeah.
As well as like unique posters for each song. And so I know, I'm pretty sure the Ghost song came out before the album did. So at least it was known early on. But yeah, the dates, as you're saying, like it's...
Well, we saw Ghost in 2022.
So the album was definitely out before then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyways. So what I was going to say about that, sorry, this is probably going to be a horrible transition from that to this, but you were wearing a Metallica shirt that night. I don't know what shirt I was wearing.
Oh, yeah, I can't remember.
But I was probably wearing Avatar because that's all I wore then. But we had met a couple who was talking to us between bands and stuff and just being friendly. And when they started singing Enter Sandman, she asked, like, does this make you mad that they're playing this?
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I was like, no, I love Enter Sandman. Like, it's my favorite Metallica song. But I think in her mind, she's probably like, oh, they're Metallica fans. Or you were a Metallica fan. We had talked about Metallica between Volbeat and Volbeat and Ghost. We had talked about seeing Metallica in 2019 and, like that whole thing. So anyways, so I think basically what I was trying to say, this did not go over as well as in my head, but like going to the fact of, like if it's a song from a band you really, really love, like what's your, like some people might not think that you would like it sung by a different band or, the cover or whatever. So I don't feel that way, but I'm just saying how.
We actually didn't really talk about this at all, but we sort of brought it up with the whole Paint and Perish and Frog Leap sort of discussion we had a little bit ago of if a band is going through the struggle or like putting their work in on the road to get their name out there and tour and whatnot, and then somebody comes out and re-sings your song in a different vocal style or whatnot, and it goes viral on TikTok or wherever the fuck it goes viral on, the band gets a little pissed possibly. But we never talked about from a fan perspective of a fan being like, fuck that person for singing this song. And I guess I can kind of see where she was coming from her question to us of like, you're clearly a Metallica fan. Are you pissed that they're singing a Metallica song? And I'm with you. No, this is awesome. I love it. Like, if it gets people exposed to Metallica and into like, it's a whole, you have to support each other type thing. And this is the best way to do it. And to some extent, I think so. Of Ghost likes Metallica. I like Ghost. I might like Metallica too. Let me go down that rabbit hole as a fan. And like, that's how I got into music was I fell in love with Metallica, and people who bought Metallica albums, what other albums do they buy? Type of thing. Like, if you like this, you'll also like this. So I love covers. I love when other bands cover songs. I don't get pissed about it, but I can see why some people do definitely get pissed about it. And I think that's sort of what you were trying to...
Oh, that's what I was trying to get to. Yeah. It's like, I think she was like, oh, are you pissed that they're singing the song or whatever? So, but in my mind, no. Like, just like I was saying with Sound of Silence with Disturbed, I think Tobias's voice, however you want to say it, I think that his vocals on Enter Sandman are just perfect. Like, just how his vocals come across on the song and stuff.
Okay. Maybe this is a good transition then into Ghost, because they also had their own cover album come out last year in 2022.
I think so, yeah. We're so bad at this.
Gonna get this name fucking wrong. Sorry. Phantomine. The Ghost cover EP that came out in 2022. Yeah.
I think there's like 8 songs on it.
Something like that.
Yeah.
One of those songs is "Stay."
Right. Oh, I thought you were gonna say "Jesus Knows Me."
No. You were saying about the vocal stylings and you like X over Y type thing.
Yeah.
That song comes out. I like that song on how Ghost sings it. It's fine, but when I listen to Ghost sing "Stay" by the Shakespeare Sisters, I instantly go to "Cradle of Filth" because they covered that also, and I'm like, well, this is good, but it's not Cradle of Filth. It's not as good as Cradle of Filth's version, which I also like better than the original by Shakespeare Sisters.
Okay. We're gonna come back to Ghost, but let's go to Shakespeare Sisters since you went there. So, the first time I ever heard "Stay," I was in English class in high school, and it was just the lyrics on a paper. And so the teacher, her name was Mrs. Perrineau. She has passed away now, but her name was Mrs. Perrineau. She was wonderful. But she had the lyrics on a paper, and we basically were going through it, and it was like an exercise of like, out of this, just these words, like, what do you think's going on? It was like, what's the story come from? Or like, what's happening in this story?
Okay.
So we did this whole exercise, and it was probably like the whole day, or the whole class, I don't remember. But at the end of doing the whole exercise, we actually watched the Shakespeare Sisters music video of "Stay."
Really?
Yes. I loved that song. Sorry. I loved that song the moment I heard it. And I was like, I really, really like this. I like the vocals. I like how the music comes together and everything like that. At that time, I really didn't listen to much music besides gospel and country. Yeah. different musical styles. I'm like, oh, I like this. I went home and I think we were at your dad's house. I don't know if we were living together yet, but anyways, that doesn't matter. But I went to you either at home or your dad's house or wherever we were. And I was like, I want you to hear this song. And I looked it up on the computer probably and played you the song. And I was like, this is really, really cool. And you're like, I know this song. And I'm like, how do you know this song? And you're like, this is Cradle of Filth song. I'm like, no, it's not. It's Shakespeare Sisters. And we went through this whole conversation. And then you played me Cradle of Filth song. After hearing Cradle of Filth's version, I too like Cradle of Filth better. But it's just like the evolution of, again, you thought, or I don't know if you knew that was Shakespeare Sisters originally.
After you told me, I figured I've learned about it from you saying you like Shakespeare Sisters, and then I listened to it much later on. And then
the Shakespeare Sisters?
No, the Cradle of Filth one I thought came out later.
No.
And then I played that for you, and you're like, oh, I thought it was reversed, where you're like, this is Shakespeare Sisters. I know this song.
Yeah. No, it was like that. It was like I came home and told you, and then
I didn't know the story though of the high school aspect of it.
I'm sure I told you way back then.
Maybe I forgot about it. But it reminds me, there was an interview I saw on like VH1 back when that was a thing. When they were talking about like the greatest songs of all time or something along those lines. And Metallica's One was one of the songs. Yeah. And one of the music journalists at the time who was interviewed or part of this little special on VH1 was like, in high school, we read the lyrics to show you that music can be poetry.
Oh, yeah.
The same exact fucking thing.
It's probably the same thing, like same exercise,
Which is fucking awesome that teachers are out there doing that and playing music for kids and making kids look at music and the lyrics. Again, I'm not a big lyrical guy. Typically, I like the music before the lyrics.
Yep.
But after listening to a song over and over, the lyrics do finally catch on to me. And lyrics are poetry. It really is. And it's so, if people who can write good lyrics, it's fucking awesome and so fucking powerful. And then you add music on top of that. Yeah, I didn't know that music bit. No.
Yeah.
We did have Cradle of Filth on here because of that one song also.
Yeah.
But again, Ghost did it as part of this last EP that came out. I don't like it as much.
I don't care for it as much either. I was super excited when it was on there, and I was like, oh, I'm going to really, really like this. I've listened to it multiple times, and I just...
Yeah.
I don't like it as much as Cradle of Filth's version.
So the problem with the song Ghosted, I think, is it starts slow and quiet.
Well, so does Shakespeare Sisters.
Yes, and so does Cradle of Filth. It starts slow and quiet. Okay. And Ghost just maintains that all the way through. Where Cradle of Filth builds until finally the heavy bit finally comes at the end, where it's like, we're building to something, and then boom, we're gonna hit you in the fucking face.
Yeah.
Where Ghost is like, you're just sitting there waiting. You're like, oh,
I think that's what it was about Ghost.
When's it gonna happen? And it doesn't happen.
I think that's why I got so excited with seeing that Ghost covered it, because I was like, I wanted that moment of the music hitting you, and it's like you're listening to Shakespeare Sisters.
You're waiting and nothing. Yeah. It's like it ends. Yeah. You're like, oh.
Yeah.
Anticlimactic.
Yeah. But the other song on Phantomime, that's that album.
The EP that came out.
The EP.
They did only covers.
Ghost EP of covers. Is Jesus, He Knows Me.
That was the first one that came out.
Yeah.
You like this song?
I love this song. It is so hilarious. Like, I didn't know it was Genesis who originally sang it, and I've never heard it before this. But just listening to the lyrics, it's just hilarious. Of the evangelical church, like the mega church, and like I think it's more even talking about not the mega church, but talking about the people who do like the proselytizing on, or not proselytizing, but like the TV guys. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, when did this come out? Like, I always assumed what you're talking about, like the mega churches and the evangelicals, like on the 700 Club, like talking on TV.
Yeah, like the 700
I always
Club.
viewed that as like a late 90s, early 2000s thing.
No. I think that was like the 80s or something.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. Like, because ABC has that for 100 years, I think. That contract, like, where it has to be on at 9 p.m.
Oh, yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
It came out in 92. Okay, so probably right around when this all started. Like
I'm pretty sure that started in the 80s, late 70s or early 80s is when the 700 Club thing started.
When I think of those type of things, I always think of like
Do you know what the
HBO
700
show.
Club is?
The 700 like Left Behind fuckers.
No, they needed $700 to keep the broadcast going at the time, so they just needed 700 people to give them $1, and they could keep the black broadcast going.
So it's a shitty version of PBS of the phone call.
Well, yeah, but that's different. This is more like we want to get. I understand what you're saying, but this, so it's basically like how the whole like
gotcha
donate to fucking people on church or on the church broadcast thing, and that's how it started, was because they needed money to keep it going, and they need 700 people. Anyways,
not a religious podcast. So
it's not.
Jump back into music.
But the Jesus He Knows Me song, like if you listen to the lyrics, it's just hilarious because it's like about that.
Yeah, because he's gay like me or something like that. Like,
Jesus, he knows me because he knows. I always thought when I first heard it, I thought he said, Jesus, he knows me because he knows I'm white, not right.
Oh.
And I was like, it adds a little bit extra like conservative Republican-ness to it.
When that song came out, I heard it and I did not like it.
Really?
It's taken a while. It's grown on me some. I do enjoy the song quite a bit. It's still not my favorite Ghost song by any means.
Oh, it's not my favorite,
but it's not one that I'm like cringing anymore. And I don't know why I cringe. I didn't enjoy the song.
But did you know the song before?
I did not. No.
Oh, okay.
But again, it's grown on me. However, when I learned that it was a cover song, again, it fit with the Ghost theme. I could see it being a Ghost song. So when I found out, like, oh, this is an awesome song. Oh, wait. Oh, it's a cover? Oh, that's awesome. Wait, they're doing a whole cover album? That's going to be fucking awesome. Like, it's Garage Inc., but Ghost. That's going to be fucking killer. I'm going to love that. When the album or the EP finally came out and I listened to it, I was like...
yeah, it's not my favorite.
It has not hit me. And I honestly have not given it enough time, I think. I think if I go back and listen to it over and over, which I might do that tomorrow. I might listen to it tomorrow quite a bit.
Yeah. But Jesus He Knows Me is the one song on it that has stuck with me anyways.
Jesus He Knows Me and Stay are the two songs I've listened to the most on that album.
Yeah. I just don't listen to Stay anymore from him.
Yep. So we'll listen to it tomorrow when we drive to yoga.
Okay.
Anything else for that particular album or Ghost and their covers?
No. The next ones will probably be kind of quick.
But. Yeah. Hallowed Be Thy Name is a song that's been covered quite a bit.
Yeah.
Machine Head does it. They do a great version of it. I love their version. The original version, though, is still Iron Maiden. I think of that song, I still think of Iron Maiden. Sure. 100%.
Sorry, how you said that was kind of weird. Like, the original song is still Iron Maiden.
Yeah, in my head, it's still an Iron Maiden song.
I was like, yes, it is.
But I love it so much, and Machine Head does a great job at tributing the song and covering the song. Machine Head also, during their 3-hour tours, will do sort of a cover melody at the end.
Oh, yeah.
Which are fucking insane. It's not the entire song. It's we're going to do some Rain and Blood that will bleed into whatever the next fucking song they're playing that night, which will bleed into something else. And like you get 5 or 6 different fucking tracks all bleeding together like this metal jam band sort of thing going on. It's fucking awesome. We just saw Machine Head not too long ago.
They didn't do anything like that.
They didn't, but it also wasn't the 3-hour tour. So, but they did Hallowed Be Thy Name. So did another band, Cradle of Filth, bringing them back up again. Of the two, I think I like Cradle of Filth again a little better. They're taking the song and making it uniquely theirs.
Yeah. I like when people do, or when it's not just covering, like going back to Ghost. I don't want to keep going back to Ghost, but like Ghost doing Stay is just the Stay song, and Cradle of Filth doing Stay is uniquely Cradle of Filth.
Yeah, and that might be why.
And I think Cradle of Filth is with Shakespeare Sisters, though.
Is it with Shakespeare?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
I mean, they have a female vocalist who's always with them as well. Maybe they just swapped her part out for the Shakespeare Sisters in that particular recording of it, but when they play it live, it's obviously not.
Yeah, obviously live it.
Also, I don't think I've ever heard that song. We've only seen them once. I don't think they played that song.
They didn't play it. Yeah. But I'm pretty sure the recording that I heard of theirs is with them.
Okay.
So, but anyways, that's beyond the point.
Oh, yeah, what you said about, like, uniquely theirs. I think that's why I like the Blacklist so much, is because all of those tracks, they are Metallica tracks, but they're uniquely different. Like the core is there. This is Unforgiven. This is Enter Sandman. You can pick that up with the notes, and there's some that just do it straight through with a little bit of twang or like a little bit of change to it. But the ones that like really stand out to me are the ones that fucking throw it on its head, but at the same time you still know it's that track.
Yeah.
I love those so much, and they take that song and they make it uniquely theirs. And the two covers we brought up by Cradle of Filth, that's exactly what they did. They took that song and made it uniquely theirs. However, for Hallowed Be Thy Name, Iron Maiden, it's still fucking Iron Maiden. It's still their song.
Yeah.
In my eyes, anyway. Again, we talked about that where when people cover, sometimes they can take over. Johnny Cash and Hurt is a good example. One more or a couple more here to talk about in this category.
Yeah, I mean, we could have went on forever and ever.
There's so many bands that do this, and it's awesome. I love when people do cover albums. But another one we have on our list is Fit for an Autopsy with Walk With Me in Hell by Lamb of God.
Yeah. So right before going to Headbangers Ball, I actually, not right before, maybe like a couple months before, but I was just letting Spotify shuffle, and Walk With Me in Hell by Fit for an Autopsy came on, and I was just like, holy shit, this is fucking awesome. Knowing that they were going to be on the boat together, I had this like little thought, was like, oh, it'd be awesome if they like did something together or performed it or whatever. We only saw Fit for an Autopsy once, I think.
They're the Scottish band, right? With Ollie?
No.
Is that Bleed From Within?
Bleed From Within, yeah. Fit for an Autopsy we saw in the dance hall room.
Yeah, I'm struggling right now to think who they were.
Anyways, what I was going to say is I think we only saw them once, and they did not perform Walk With Me in Hell. I'm not saying that they didn't in one of their sets on the boat, but the one that we saw, they did.
I was going to say the same thing, that it's possible because we were trying to catch every band at least once. That was the one time we caught Fit for an Autopsy, unfortunately. So it's possible it happened. We just weren't there.
We didn't hear it, that set. But I actually I love Lamb of God's version, obviously, but it's just a little bit heavier and it's just a little different. They made it more metalcore-y, deathcore-y.
So you brought that up, I think, while we were on the cruise or a little bit after you told me about that, and I don't think I knew about that at all going into the cruise.
The Walk With Me in Hell?
Yeah.
I had told you before we went, when I found it.
I can't remember exactly when you told me.
That's okay.
But I hadn't listened to the track until afterwards.
Oh, okay.
And honestly, I'm not the biggest fan of it. I still like, not that I don't like it. I do like it. Mm-hmm. I prefer Lamb of God's version of that song, is what I guess I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
But still super fucking cool. And events like that, it could have happened. We just didn't see it. Really cool if it had happened with Randy coming out and also singing.
Yeah, that would be
because
awesome.
That happened a few times. Randy came out and did Blood and Thunder with Mastodon.
Yeah, and I was so hungry. We had to go get a snack.
We skipped that, unfortunately.
Well, I had sea sickness all day and I didn't eat anything all day. Anyways, this one.
Go ahead. Yeah, the last one we have is I Prevail. I don't understand what this is.
Okay, so I probably should have put this up when we were talking about, or I should have brought this up when we talked about the TikTok and everything like that. So, I Prevail was like a nothing band. They decided to put on social media a cover of a Taylor Swift song. I don't know which one at the moment, but that's what made them blow up, was covering Taylor Swift.
So they were a nothing band, or like they just hadn't toured that often, or what?
Yeah, like I don't think that they were like a band at, not that they weren't a band at all. So there's a whole video on Instagram about it, but basically they decided to go into a closet and record Taylor Swift and post it to social media. So I'm sure that they were like a band together, but they were like, they didn't know how to get out there, or like they didn't have any music.
Oh, this was like their first song that they released type thing.
That's how I understand it.
Based on the video you watched.
Yes.
Interesting. So they did a cover, of Taylor Swift.
Yeah. And I only found out about that a few months ago, actually. But I was going to learn the song and then sing it for
your niece.
My niece. But I didn't do that because it was before Christmas that I found out about it.
Have they listened to the song? Your niece, your cousin, and your aunt?
No.
They're big time Swifties.
Yeah.
And all right.
But I thought that was interesting.
I'll have to check that song out and see. Not a big fan of Taylor Swift at all. I think you aren't either.
No.
However, I would definitely like. We were at Disturbed and David came out and was like, "I would love to sing with Taylor Swift," and like the crowd would boo, and he's like, "No, she's great. I'd love to do it." And I mean, yeah, it's gonna help. I hate to say this, it's gonna help Disturb. It's going to help Disturbed's career for sure.
They don't need any help in their career. That's a wrong way to say that. It would could potentially bring people into the genre.
Fair. That's a better way to say it.
However, I don't want all those fucking girls that were over at Soldier Field for 3 days straight at my concerts.
You don't like the girls scream and
no.
Yeah. Anyway, what I was trying to say is I would definitely go to see a Taylor Swift show with them. But that's like the only way I'm going to see a show is if they go.
If they go, yeah. Well, we're gonna have to have a lot of money to buy all those tickets. So.
Yeah, fuck yes.
If Taylor Swift ever comes back, they can come and we can go sit on the lawn.
Yeah,
outside of Soldier Field.
That might be doable. Anywho, I did not know that about Hyperveil for sure.
Sorry, I should have talked about that when we talked about the TikTok stuff, but.
And then like just so many bands do covers. Like it's a common thing, as we were talking about earlier with like sort of the demo tape of what I thought I heard in an interview of send us a cover song that you did. Bands will put out cover songs all the time, and I personally really love when they do. It's sort of that entry or that sort of background knowledge of the band and what the band likes and what they're sort of drawn to and what influences them. And it takes me down that rabbit hole as well for other music that I might not have searched if it wasn't for this band introducing it to you. So I really do enjoy covers. I love them so much.
Yeah, that's true. Like with Bloody Roots, when we saw A Killer's Confession perform that, and then I was like looking at that, I was like, what's Bloody Roots? Like, it's a cover. Like, what is this? And then I got into Sepultura, or like found Sepultura, and like got into Sepultura because of that. So it's like one of those things where it's like, going down different rabbit holes.
Same thing. We went to like an Ice Nine, not same thing, similar thing. We went to an Ice Nine show. They were playing, I think, at Rockfest last year, and Red Right Hand by Nick Cave comes on, and it's on the Scream movie, and I love that. Like when I hear that song, I think of Scream and Halloween. Like that instantly takes me to that mindset and that time of year. And I was like, I want to get the album with Red Right Hand. So I found the Nick Cave's album that song was on, and it also has Loverman by Metallica on Garage Inc. Again, a song I know so well because of Garage Inc., but never actually spent the time to find the original artist or look that up. There's...
Yeah, a little different than what I just said, but...
Yeah, similar yet different.
Good transition into...
whatever.
I have a question for you, though.
What's that?
So the next thing that we're going to get into is kind of artists singing band music on solo shows. Right? Okay. But before we get into that, what do you think about this? Would this be considered a cover to you? Where we went and saw Stevie Nicks and Billy Joel.
Okay.
I believe this was a song that Stevie Nicks sang.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
But where somebody had recorded the song and was going to release it under their name. But Stevie Nicks needed a song to get her out there. So they wiped the vocal, and I think it was a man's vocals, off of it. He gave the song to her so she could put her vocals on it. Would you consider that a cover?
So I don't know enough about that particular song.
I know you were getting alcohol when she said the story.
I don't know this whole story that well. I didn't hear the whole her explaining it, and even the way you explained it, as if what you said was word for word what she said. I'm still a little confused on the way you explained it. It sounds like to me that we wrote this song. Party A wrote this song. Stevie Nicks, they knew them somehow, and they needed a song. And they're like, oh, we have this song that we have not released yet. Here it is. It's yours. You can go ahead and sing the tracks. Here's the lyrics. Go ahead and do that. To me, at that point, it's never been released. It's still sort of in the writing process and figuring it out type process. Once it's been released, then whoever released the song first, it's their song. The way you describe it, it sort of sounds like Stevie Nicks released the song first.
Yeah, she did.
So then it's still her song.
Even though she didn't write it and she didn't do anything with it. She just sang it.
That's music all the time where there's somebody else who's writing the song. You have it all the time, like especially I think with pop singers. They don't write their own fucking music. Like
that's why I don't listen to pop music.
Sure. It's all the same song over and over.
Yeah.
There's a few pop singers that write their own music, their own lyrics and whatnot. But a lot of the times I think it's ghost written. But you can say the same thing then I guess I got the Blacklist where it's you're not changing the lyrics at all. You're just changing the music a little bit.
Those are covers.
Sure, those are covers, yes.
That's what I was asking you, if this would be considered a cover in your mind.
In my mind, no.
Okay.
Because
I didn't want to have a debate over it. I was just asking a simple question.
No, and I was just trying to understand the whole, like, not the whole universe, but just trying to understand it a little better. That, no, in my mind, this is not a cover because it was never released, and who cares who wrote it? This is the song we released at this time. Once it's been released, and then you start altering the song post-release, then it starts to become a cover and whatnot.
Okay. So now what do you think about artists? We have a few out here, so we don't have to talk about all the songs that they sing, but the names should be familiar. Corey Taylor, Mike Sharona, Carrie King, Hell Yeah, I guess is a band, not a person, and then Ozzy. So what we're kind of going for here is at their solo shows or at their shows or with Hell Yeah, it's a little bit different because it's a band, but at the Hell Yeah shows, they perform songs from bands that they were in.
Yeah, and Ozzy, I think, is a great example of this because when he played 2017's Open Air, the last headliner?
Yep.
I was talking to a friend at work about it and telling him, like, I'm not the biggest Ozzy fan because his music gets overplayed on the radio growing up all the time. So every time Ozzy came on, fuck Mama, I'm Coming Home. I've heard it 4 times today. I'm not hearing this shit again. Crazy Train, fuck that shit. This is the 12th time this week I've heard this fucking song, and it's only goddamn Tuesday. So Ozzy shit got overplayed on the radio all the time, and I got done with Ozzy. Which sucks because Ozzy's fucking phenomenal. I love Ozzy. But I hate it. It's weird. It's fucking weird.
Yeah. But you really don't listen to it that much anymore, so it would be different hearing it. Yeah.
But I still have that like gut reaction of like that cringe. Anywho, his response was, "But you know he's gonna play Black Sabbath, right? He's gonna play Black Sabbath." And I kind of came around. I was like, "Oh shit, all right. I love Sabbath, so it's awesome to hear that again." And I was fine with it, honestly, because, I mean, it is their music. And you brought up Corey Taylor as well.
Yeah.
We saw his live performance, his CMFT 2 tour.
Yeah.
This last year in 2022. And there's a lot of, half the music was
Stone Sour or Slipknot.
Yeah. Which was awesome to see, but I just saw Slipknot earlier this year.
I thought it was unique, though. I thought it was fun.
It was fun. Yeah. I wish he would have played more of his own stuff.
Okay.
The first, like the CMFT album and the CMFT 2 album were so great. I love those albums so much. And I wanted more music from that. So while I have no problem with him playing those songs, I wish he would have focused more on his own stuff than he did the other stuff as well. Again, he wrote those songs, the lyrics to those songs, and the music to those songs. So 100% I'm fine with you playing them. I just personally wish it would have been more catered towards the other direction. The other two you brought up, Mike Shanona, sorry if I said that wrong, and then Carrie King. Carrie King we're going to see hopefully later this year.
Yes.
He just announced a new album and a new tour, so hopefully we can hit up one of those tours.
Lamb of God and Macedon.
Yeah, and who knows if he does other things too. So fingers crossed we get to see Carrie King. We've only seen Slayer once live.
Yeah, and we only saw like 3 songs of it. So
yeah.
Well, technically, both times we saw Slayer. Well, no, did you go up for Slayer at us or at Chicago Open Air?
Oh shit, I forgot they were at Open Air. No, we stayed back because we wanted to get good spots for Ozzy.
Yeah, so. I mean, either way, we would have probably gotten good spots for Ozzy because
the whole crowd, yeah.
I love that. Do you know the guy's name, the comedian that does the
Jim Brewer?
Jim Brewer, yeah, he does the Slayer fans thing where he's like, And then the Slayer fans come, and I'm like, 100% Chicago Open Air 2017.
We were standing down there, and the Slayer fans were at the top of the stand, and just rushed. And then he's like, I'm going over here. I'm looking at you. I don't want to look at you, but all right, I'm going over here now, and just like bouncing around. Like,
and that's 100% how it was.
You have no control over this. Like you're in a wave, and you're just going with the motion.
I think we recorded an episode of our experience at Open Air. I think
we did for that year.
Yeah, because
it was fun. It was one. Of
it
the
was so much
shows
fun. Like that performance was just amazing, and like I just remember me and this other girl who I have no fucking clue who she is. We never even spoke, but she like locks arms with me. Her guy's behind her. You're behind me, and like we're just like. We had an unspoken pact that we're like, wherever we go,
we're going
all four of us are together. So I think you had your arm around my neck. Well, not around my neck, but you know what I mean. Yeah. And yeah, like wherever the crowd went, we went. It was so much fun.
Yeah, I mean, a few years ago, you heard about like the individuals dying in Texas for being smashed. And a friend of mine who's a big Deadhead was talking about, in the 70s they had a whole song called Push Back or something like that, where it was a break to have the crowd push back. Like everybody basically make sure you have a bubble around you type thing.
Yeah.
And it made me think of that particular show too. That was the most packed I've ever been.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And I never really felt there were times where I was like, if I fall down, I'm not getting back up.
That was my fear, is falling. And I think that's what the other person's fear was too, and that's why I think it was like this like lock your arms thing.
But at the same time, I also had this thought of like, I've seen several pits, and it's always when you fall, you pick the person up.
Yeah.
And if I had fallen, or you had fallen, I honestly do feel like, looking back on it, a small circle would have emerged.
Everybody
around
would have.
us.
Yeah.
Like I don't feel like it would have.
Continue to trample to the front.
It would have been the exactly.
Yeah.
So
that was,
anyway,
that was my thought too. When it happened in Texas, that was my thought too. And I remember even texting family members like, "Oh my gosh, I've been in a crowd like that, but like I never had a feeling that something would happen." Like I don't know.
Not saying that I don't know.
It's not happen. Yeah.
In any case, this is a tangent. One of many that we always do.
We were hoping for a 30-minute episode.
Yeah, it's not happening. Kerry King. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we get to see him later this year.
Yes.
Or see them later.
I forgot what we were talking about.
However, when we see them, I am somewhat expecting a decent number of Slayer tracks to be played. I'm
sure the album that he's releasing this year, I'm sure he'll play that. I think that gets released in May, if I remember right.
From 14th-ish?
Yeah. So, yeah. Don't quote us on that date, but I'm sure that there'll be songs from that played on this tour, and then because the tour starts I think right after or shortly after that.
Have you listened to the new song that was released? Idle Hands,
yet.
I think it is.
I have not yet.
It's fucking good.
Is it good? I saw.
Got some Slayer vibes for sure going on. It's
awesome.
Fucking killer.
Awesome. No, I just saw that on social media that it was out, and I just haven't.
But also, like the band around him is a collaboration of a bunch of other bands.
Yeah.
So to say I expect Slayer is kind of weird.
Yeah.
That it's Kerry King. I'm going to have fucking Slayer, but why not Death Angel? Why not Machine Head? Why not, or some sort of melody of all of them?
And that's why I'm wondering if, like, maybe this song sounds like Slayer. Maybe the next song's going to sound more like Death Angel. You know, I don't know. I don't know how it's going to go, but I'm just saying. Like,
the album itself will be an amalgamation of all of them. Interesting. In any case, though, I don't mind when a singer or a musician plays music from their past. Let me rephrase that. A solo musician plays stuff from their past bands they were members of.
Yeah.
I
guess that could go to who I just brought up, the lady that we saw with Billy Joel.
Oh, Stevie Nicks.
Stevie Nicks, yes. Yeah. Sorry. For some reason, Nita Strauss was in my mind, and I'm like, it's not her. She's so much better. But, like, what band was she in?
Who?
Stevie Nicks.
Fleetwood Mac.
Fleetwood Mac. So, like, you had said going in, like, oh, there's going to be a lot of Fleetwood Mac.
There's a decent amount. They didn't get chained.
I don't think she can sing that.
I don't understand that bullshit. Like, she wrote that fucking song. Like, no, she can sing that song if she wants. Anywho, I I want to hear that song live, and I didn't hear it. And it's got one of the greatest bass bits moments ever. It's a fucking awesome song, and I wanted to hear it live, and I didn't. I'm pissed. Anywho, what I'm trying to say is,
go see some live music.
Go see live music, yeah.
Even if it's a cover band.
Cover band, tribute bands, they're all fucking awesome. Music is music.
If you're walking down the street and hear a band playing, just
wander toward the music.
Yes, we've done that many times.
Live music's awesome. Music in general is awesome. Just go explore and find out and figure out what makes you you, and you'll find that through music for sure. We'll see you out there.
Bye.